Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is, from my rooted center, I can practice alchemical arts. Hello and welcome to our last day of Libra, first day of Scorpio. We have the sun moving into Scorpio not till late in the evening, almost 9 p.m. Pacific time. So for some of us, many of us, it'll actually be early tomorrow. But we're working and walking the bridge today between Libra and Scorpio. And like I mentioned yesterday or one of these days this week, it's always fascinating to me how one sign builds upon the next. And it is because of the balance that we can ultimately find in the time of Libra, that working on our center, knowing where that is, that we can actually be safe and rooted in our center to be able to explore the depths that Scorpio has us exploring. We also have a shift today of Neptune. Neptune today retrogrades back into Pisces for the grand finale. So this is a process that began in 2012, and here we are in 2025 preparing for the wind-up in 2026. I think it is actually January 26th of 2026 that Neptune leaves Pisces for our lifetime. It's not coming back in our lifetime to move semi-permanently for a long while into the sign of Aries. So this is a big shift. These are both somewhat monumental shifts. The Neptune back into Pisces energy, I really do. Like, if you think back to 2012 and the energies that we were working with and just the stories that were going around, how it was the end of the world, but I'm hearing it's the end of the world as we know it. I really do feel like it was. Like, it really was wrapping up an age. And we've really been walking through some very interesting cosmic waters since that time. And part of this is because Pisces, as the final sign of the zodiac, has access to all that has come before. Pisces energy can connect to all time, place, and space. Anybody who I ever meet who has strong Pisces always has strong psychic gifts because they can move through all the layers. And Neptune, as the ruling planet of Pisces, just expands that ability of the Piscean energy to move through these layers. And even if you are not aware of them, this is happening. So what I feel like, and again, this goes especially with Saturn, which is, Lord of Karma. Saturn also in Pisces, winding up its time in Pisces. It will also move out of Pisces for the next 30 years in 2026, in February of 2026. But the two of them being at these final degrees of Pisces just has a really strong potency around wrapping up these karmic stories. And so what you can do is, first of all, be aware of the repeating lessons in your life. Be aware of, like, oh, I felt this feeling again. What is this? How is this moving me? What is this showing me? Really being willing to listen. Watch what keeps circling in your life and see where you can listen to your intuition. These energies in the sign of Pisces can definitely enhance your intuition, your connection to God, Spirit, Universe. It's always there, but it can make the lines a little stronger so they can hear through the crackle of the universe a little bit better. Really lean into that to support whatever it is that your process may be up for completion. It's funny because in the cards I do have completion and the Fool. So this is the World. This is the end card of the major arcana, and here's the Fool, a new beginning. So that makes sense with the Scorpio, but I feel like it also makes sense with Neptune moving back into Pisces. Now, Neptune at 29 Pisces, it's that final degree. It's not moving beyond there. It's going to go direct in December but it's not moving beyond that 29th degree. It's just going to squat there. And that degree has a little extra oomph to it. So be aware that the Pisces energies are going to be working, and it can be confusing. It can especially be confusing if you're trying to look through the lens of logic, if you're trying to look exclusively through the lens of reality. And if you find yourself getting confused, oh, what is it? What are those things called? I don't even remember what they're called. But they were really popular in my youth, and where you have to like kind of look at them and it just looks like it's this blurry thing, and as you squint your eyes and look at it a little differently, suddenly you can see this picture come through. I don't know what that's called. That's what Neptune and Pisces at 29 degrees is like. So if you're having trouble understanding, your eyes are probably way too open and you're trying to see through this lens, through this realm. And there's much more depth to it. And so squint a little, let it get a little hazy. And when you allow yourself to see things differently, there's a good chance the understanding will come through in this energy. But just be aware that this can definitely bring confusion, and I don't think things are going to necessarily calm down in this energy, if you know what I mean. So we have that. Now it's also interesting because the only other aspect of the day that we have besides the sun moving into Scorpio is actually the sun and Neptune. Not Neptune. Oh yeah, it is Neptune. Who even knows what I'm talking about? I'm trying. Sun and Neptune, yes, in conjunct. So they're in this like not seeing eye to eye. And I think it's because, you know, this is the sun in Libra. And the sun in Libra does want to see things through the rose-colored glasses, but I feel like Neptune and Pisces is like, you got to kind of look at this through rainbow-colored glasses. Yeah, the pink lens is one layer, but let's look through the red, let's look through the orange, let's look through the yellow. Let's see it through the whole spectrum, and then when we see it through the whole spectrum, then we can understand. So just realize, and this also might be like something that Libra energy might see as like, ooh, that's ugly. And the Pisces, Neptune and Pisces is like, oh, I can actually see the beauty in that. I can actually see there's purpose in that. So just be willing, again, to look at things a little differently. And even just hold the space of the unknown. That's part of the gift of the Pisces, is the space of the unknown and holding faith of the reason and the reveal. So let's dig into Scorpio. This is our official Sun into Scorpio scope, even though it's not moving until later. Our focus this Scorpio season is going to be alchemy, transformation, motivation, and reaction. That's what I'm really feeling for this realm of Sun in Scorpio. Scorpio is such an interesting sign. Scorpio goes where other signs can fear to tread. It's so interesting being sandwiched between Libra and Sagittarius, which are both kind of sunnier. And Scorpio's like, hold on, we got to balance this stuff out. Scorpio energy is desire. It's passion. It's power. Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto, if that gives you an idea of the true energy backing Scorpio energy up, right? So that's why we want to look at motivation. That's why we want to look at reactional energy. That's why we want to look at passion for Scorpio. This is why we want to also look at Pluto, Plutonic colonic, the transformation, the alchemical process. Scorpio energy is the death and rebirth of things, the completion and the Fool, right? And so we can experience transformations like that. It's not necessarily about death, but about the cycle of life and death that happens. Scorpio also happens to hit at like one of the major parts of fall when the leaves are actually ready to, as I was driving today, I was like, wow, the leaves are actually starting to fall a little bit. Okay. Scorpio energy, I think one of the best ways to bring forth Scorpio energy is also like the 3 animal energies that can represent Scorpio. I talk about this every once in a while, but I think it's really interesting to be aware of it because there's the scorpion that lashes out to protect itself. Scorpio is a sign that rules boundaries. And sometimes it can be about that protection energy. The next layer is the eagle, which can fly high and see things from on high, and then comes in and is still a bird of prey, right? And so there still is that, it's not a lashing, but it's, you know, it's a mauling, you know. And then the next layer is the phoenix energy. And the phoenix is one unto itself. The phoenix burns itself up and rebirths itself. And that is, I think, the truest alchemical process of Scorpio. I guess I should mention, I forgot to say this yesterday, and I was like, this is probably why I recorded 5 times and it didn't work. We have begun the Mercury in shadow process. Mercury is at the place in Scorpio where it will return when it goes retrograde. It's not going retrograde till November, but we are beginning the process. And my words are being difficult, and technology is being difficult, and I'm sure some of you have already begun to experience this. So bear with me over the next little bit as I trip over my words and my tongue. Anyways, the alchemical process, I think, is a really important one to Scorpio, and that is the highest layer, where we really can go from creating a victim, or being a victim, I guess being a victim, creating a victim, to feeling empowered within ourselves, basically. That's what those energies kind of represent to me. So, Sun into Scorpio. Now, this being said, for the next 24 hours, it's also going to be at a big fat 0. So most of the day, we're going to feel that 29 Libra. We may feel pretty, might feel like, oh, this isn't even Scorpionic at all. And then, here it comes. I'm also excited to say that I will be using the Halloween Oracle for the next little bit, up until Halloween, and then we'll figure out what other one we're going to do. Let's look at these cards, and then we'll look at that. Okay, so this feels kind of like this day. Oh, what song popped into my head? There was a song that popped into my head when I saw this, and I can't think of it now. But watch for overdoing it with this strong air energy. I would say this also works for Scorpio. Watch for taking on too much at once. You don't have to go through the birth, death, recycling, there we go, of everything right away. Give Scorpio its time to move in. We got some feels moving through. This could be, in part, some of this Pisces energy. Like I said, with all of this Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, we definitely have Grand Trine water energy working us. And I think with the Sun specifically moving out of Libra, yes, Venus is going to be holding space in Libra, but like, we've got a lot of water. So you may just find some interesting things coming up. And that's part of the Scorpio process as well, is like going where you fear. And sometimes I think we just fear feeling badly, and sometimes crying, sadness feels bad and we don't want to go there. And Scorpio's like, go there, let yourself feel it, and then know how to shift. Know how to come back to your center, right? That's the point of this. I've also got the Outsider card in reverse. Feels like some old stuff. Again, might be resurfacing. It might be some old stuff from this lifetime, but like I said, I feel like a lot of these patterns that are coming up are from beyond the here and now. These are from other lifetimes, so just be aware of that. The card I pulled today feels very Scorpionic. I pulled Vampire, Emotional Intelligence. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I am going to read this part that feels important and helpful. The vampire is an interesting figure because it is both horrifying and desirable. Having somebody want us so much that they desire to be that closely linked with us, it does feel good until we realize there's nothing much left of us to give. Most of us have heard of the concept of emotional vampirism, the idea that people feed off of our energy and our goodwill and take advantage of us through manipulation and incessant neediness. I would also say people also feed off of when we have that bad energy, and they feed off of that. There's a lot of weird things that people feed off of. So Should the vampire card appear in your reading, it may indicate that you're being drained in this way, and the time has come for stronger boundaries. Hello, Scorpio season. We need to be very aware of what gives us energy in our lives and what takes it away. We should be aware of needing people to need us and why we invite people like this into our homes, workplaces, and lives, if indeed we have them around us. Developing the emotional intelligence within ourselves helps us defend against this kind of emotional and psychic attack and enables us to foster healthy, equal relationships of all kinds. So, perfect card to kick off Scorpio season. Besides that, you can book a reading, you can book a clearing. Scorpio season is a really good time to help clear these energies away, especially if you're feeling struggly in any of these areas. Besides all that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and may your guiding light be strong, and know you can trust the process. Namaste.